Hello, ELED 3111. I hope you're doing well. This is Dr. Biker, and I wanted to share about our last assignment for this course, which is the unit plan assignment. So you will be doing this as part of the Module 5, and you actually have more time to complete this assignment than the other assignments in the course. Depending on when you access Module 5 and start listening to this video, you can start on it right away, of course. And then it's due by Tuesday, August 10, which is when close to when our course finishes. That's during the exam week. So something that you need to know about this unit plan assignment, it's like the final exam project for our course. It takes the place of a final exam, and it's based off of project-based learning. All right, so it's a little more detailed than the other assignments that you've had because it's a very summative type of assignment. So in this video, I want to explain the purposes of the assignment, the template that you'll be using, show you an example of what the assignment looks like, and then also explain how you will upload this assignment into the Canvas assignment box. All right, so I'm on the assignment description right here. You can see that I have a whole purpose statement. You'll need to read through that as part of the unit plan check-in. You should open up the assignment template, which I have here. Like the other assignments that you have completed in this course, you will make a copy of this template. To do so, again, it's very easy. You click on File, click Make a Copy, then go ahead and make your copy. Once you've made your copy, go and get rid of where it says copy of and put your first and last name, okay? So first name, last name in the file up there. And then you need to come here to the share button and share it with me. So go ahead and just type in my ebiker at uncc.edu. All right, so share it with me and give me editing rights and just send it to me. All right, so now you've done that direction as part of this assignment, and you will add your name here where it says add your name here. Just go ahead and add your first and last name. And then you'll see that the assignment is quite comprehensive, so you'll want to read carefully all the directions. You'll actually be doing that as part of the Module 4 when you do the unit plan check-in. So one of the things in this assignment that you're going to be creating is a mini unit plan, what we call a learning segment. And a learning segment is a 3 to 5 lesson sequence. You're just going to be doing 3 lessons, but it's based off a cluster of standards. All right. So for this assignment, you will be choosing one of these clusters. Cluster 1, and these are all English language art standards, by the way. Cluster 1 is from grade 1. So it's related to key ideas and evidence for literature. And you can see the cluster here, the cluster of standards. Cluster 2 is from grade 2, and it's related to crafting the structure of informational text. And cluster 3 is from grade 3, and it's related to integration of ideas and analysis of informational text. So you only choose one cluster. I'm not saying just choose one standard, you choose one cluster. Make sure that you read those directions carefully, and you will be selecting and highlighting one cluster that you'll be creating your unit plan on. All right, So after you've selected your cluster, you're going to go to the unpacking document to find and analyze more information about your cluster. So let's just say, for example, you've selected cluster 1, key ideas and evidence for literature. You'll click on the unpacking document for cluster 1. And again, this is RL1-1. So that cluster is related to the reading standards, of course, but related to literature, not to informational text. So we just go down and you'll notice that it is the first cluster of standards, okay? Ask and answer questions about key details in a text, retell stories, and describe character settings and major events. So that's your cluster that you'll be developing your unit plan around. You need to go to this unpacking document before I go back and make sure you read through all of the different items in this unpacking document. There's some really great information for teachers that can help you in terms of your instructional design related to this unpacking document. So make sure you study it, study the section or the cluster that you're focused on. Just pay attention to the clarification. This provides some ways in thinking about how you would actually implement these standards in your classroom instruction, and also to the glossary. These are the vocabulary students will need to know, and you'll need to provide some support, like with an anchor chart, for example, or an exit ticket, to provide support for their mastery of these key vocabulary. Okay, so again, you'll be using these unpacking documents or the unpacking document for your cluster to answer these questions. You're going to be answering these first 6 questions, and they're all related to the unpacking document. So let me just show you another example that is in our assignment Dropbox. This is from a student who created their lesson plan. Now, when they did their unit plan, it was on social studies standards. You aren't doing social studies standards. You'll be doing English language arts standards. So just use this example as a way to kind of look at the details, the language, how the student crafts the unit plan. But let's just take a look at this first phase, which is using the unpacking document to answer these questions. So for example, question 1 says, what will students be able to do as a result of this unit? What will they be able to do in terms of skills? And you notice how the students will be able to summarize the difference between goods and services, explain the difference between income and money and how people earn money. And then students will be able to explain why individuals have unique wants and needs based on resources. Then the second question is identify and list all the strong action verbs in your cluster. Now you'll find these action verbs in the actual cluster of standards that you have selected. So you'll notice, for example, summarize, the strong action verb. Just list that right here in number 2. Based on your cluster that you've selected. You'll most likely have 3 or 4 strong action verbs that you have identified. Do not use weak verbs like understand, know, or comprehend. I'm looking for very strong action verbs. You probably are tired of me saying that since you've been hearing that since the first day of our course, but strong action verbs, please. Then you will list what level these action verbs are aligned with in terms of Bloom's taxonomy. So I put a link in here. Use that link to help you revisit Bloom's taxonomy. This Webb's depth of knowledge, you'll be reading more about in our module 5, and you'll be just checking off which depth of knowledge is aligned to the action verbs in your cluster. All right. which is the most closely aligned. You'll explain in part 5 in 3 to 5 sentences. Please write this in narrative format. Don't give me just bullet points. Please write it out in a narrative about how does this inform your instructional design. And then finally, for 6, you're just listing the key vocabulary in your cluster. And again, you can find those key vocabulary in the glossary section of your unpacking document. All right. So another feature in the template is phase 2. And phase 2 is where you actually discuss your planning. And you'll be doing this in a narrative format. So the first thing that you'll do is identify the standard for your lesson 1. The standard, again, should come from the cluster of standards that you've selected. You will be writing out your lesson objective. Again, you'll use strong action verbs to identify the performance. The condition is how students will be doing this. Will they be working independently or in a group? And then the criteria. Criteria is how much do they need to correctly identify as part of your assessment in order to show proficiency. So make sure you include all these 3 components in your lesson objective. Then you'll do a description of your lesson activity, how you'll actually go about the sequence of the activity. Make sure you write this in a narrative format. I don't want to see bullet points, so write it down in a narrative for me, please. And then describe the assessments in your lesson. So I'm including, or the student, sorry, the STAR student example has included some picture sorts and some data sheet kind of activities in her assessments. Okay. Lesson 2, again, relates to another standard in your cluster. You write your strong objective statement and then describe in a narrative format your lesson activity. Okay, so use this example as a way, as a model for how you begin to craft your unit plan. Okay, and then lesson 3, which is the last lesson of your unit plan, is the same way. You will select another standard from your cluster. You will describe in a narrative format your lesson activity, and you will explain the assessments that you've included. There's a final phase in this unit plan, and that is a unit project. So we will imagine that your unit plan might be 5 or 2 weeks altogether. And at the end of the unit, you have a unit project. And the lessons for each day are helping the students to work towards this unit project. So what I want you to do is come up with a unit project that is aligned with your cluster of standards, and that helps to support the students in the mastery of the skills and knowledge related to those standards. So you can see this example. I'm not going to go through it all, but it's basically a pet store that the student who created this example did for her unit project. Now, just read these directions, describe the unit plan project assignment, include the directions for how the students will complete this unit project. So you'll read that in here. The directions are included, and then how this project connects with the cluster of standards that you selected. Okay. And then also any resources. So in this project, the students actually complete a project sheet it's just linked here as a Google Doc. That's kind of what it looks like. All right, so let's go back to the example. The final piece on this project is to create a rubric that you'll use to assess the project or evaluate the project. Now, I've already included a template for you to fill out in the unit plan template itself. I have included a template of the rubric. It now, though, for you, you'll be filling out the criteria. These criteria, you'll probably see when you read this, they are aligned to the actual standards in your cluster. And then you'll also notice the categories of whether it meets the benchmark, whether it partially meets the benchmark or does not meet the benchmark. All right, so that's the unit plan assignment. Again, this will be due Tuesday by 11:59 p.m., August 10. When you are ready to upload your unit plan assignment to the Canvas Dropbox, it's very easy. You just click on Start Assignment. You go back to your Google document that you created your template or using your template, and you go ahead and click Share. Do the copy link. You've already shared it with me as an editor. If you haven't done that, make sure you do that before you put it into the Canvas assignment box. So we just click on copy link and then go to website URL and either right click your mouse or your keyboard and click on paste, or just do Control V. So if you do Control V, it'll put it in as well. Control V is paste. And then you just click on Submit Assignment, and I'll say congratulations, and I'll look forward to assessing this assignment. Again, it's the final one for the course, and I thank you for a great summer course together. All right, wishing you good health and well-being. Thank you.